VoyMonk video voice flow. Yeah. Yeah, no, something that was on my mind before I started this, and I had it from yesterday, but I was talking about like interviews specifically when it comes to sitting down. Now, obviously there's different formats, different ways to do that. And so I think some spaces, some places, they kind of go with certain things. So when you listen to or watch the Johnny Carson show, as we did back in the Stone Age, it wasn't really a format for really anything other than just kind of getting to know celebrities and stars of movies and that kind of thing while they, cross-promoted or promoted whatever projects or books and things that they had going on. And that's just the way it is. So I would say that for the most part, there's really not much to anticipate that, there's really going to be any hard-hitting questions or journalism and that kind of thing. It's not news in the strictest sense, but as things have kind of formulated from a like Entertainment Tonight perspective to Access Hollywood to Extra and whatever the heck else, TMZ. I mean, there's journalism, and then there's, of course, reporting and all that kind of thing. Not all reporters are journalists, and not all journalism is reporting, and not all things that come across as information that seems like it is news really is. But the thing is that, and I guess I could kind of use this as an example, is Wendy Williams is a person who is very much on the precipice and on the pulse of a lot of gossip at one point. She's had some issues and stuff like that as recently, but she had a show, which is my point, and it basically had fans and it had people that were critics, and most of it had to do with the process in which she gave information and sometimes the way she would interview, which was kind of a bit in your face and a lot more aggressive. Since that time that she's kind of fallen ill and had some issues, Sherry Shepherd has taken her place. And as far as the way that the format of the show went, and this definitely has to do with news, although it's more to the information and, and the content, but she's changed the kind of approach to where the show is, meaning it's a little bit more lighthearted, less, it's also gossipy as well, but she's made it clear that from the beginning, from what I've seen, that she's not going to be one of those people that kind of asks the hard-hitting questions and, makes guests uncomfortable, which is fine. But here's the thing, is that in the media or in situations where you're supposed to be kind of entertaining people or whatever, this isn't a show and that's not what I'm doing. But when I watch and I observe and consume content, the thing I think is when I listen to an interview or someone's actually going to do the thing in terms of, I guess, a reporting is the best way to describe if something's going on, there's certain kind of obligations that I would think, when you're advertising and you're encouraging people to come in and sometimes demanding their time because you want them to give you a chance to listen and hear what you have to say. Well, there's, a currency that's being exchanged, time, mind, money, your health, right? A lot of things. But point there is that if you're coming into someone's living room, even if it's just an entertainment, although, like I said, Johnny Carson being different than when I'm talking about Wendy Williams and Sherry Shepherd, it's that regardless to how you feel about a certain situation or whatever, in terms of professional standpoint and the fact that it's a show and you're asking people for their time, I think it behooves that if you're going to actually ask questions, and this, feeds into, weeds into the, as far as news, I think it's, even if you don't want to, even whether you like or dislike a person, if you're endeavoring, at least in my opinion, to do something where you're asking a question or you're doing an interview, I think Charlemagne from The Breakfast Club is another kind of example, where sometimes, questions are going to be tough. They're hard. And as someone who's actually presenting things, format definitely, in platforms and in certain variations make it different. Getting to the answers is important. Someone doesn't necessarily want to answer certain questions. Maybe you don't necessarily want to ask them. But if it's in the wheelhouse of what you do, then to me, I guess I kind of find it ironic that some people think that that isn't part of a task or a job. And while, regardless to whatever personal, professionally, yeah, sometimes if you endeavor to say, hey, this is about getting some answers and, getting information, and I'm talking about news more specifically this week, then, like I said, content over production. Anyways, I'm running out of time. I'm going to wrap a lot of this up for the rest of this later this on Friday. But that's going to do it for right now. And I got a little bit more to say tomorrow. But until then, take care.